You're listening to Creatively Overwhelmed with Blake Jael, all about the journey to thinking less and creating more. I'm your host, Blake, and I hope you leave more inspired than you came. Hi! So, I have this candle burning, and it's a wood wick candle by MLJ Candle Boutique. And it's a little loud, though. I don't know if I should put it out or not, if it's gonna affect it, but I'm just gonna leave it. Cause I've been in this mindset of just I've just been overthinking too much, or just thinking too deeply and analytically to a downfall. It's definitely a pro, like a positive attribute of mine. I'm a problem solver, but my brain has been going and going the past 2 weeks, and I've been feeling like I'm going crazy, to be dramatic. So I missed 1 week last week. I decided to take a break from everything because I was trying to catch up on work. I was doing my taxes and stuff, prepping for that, which I didn't purposely wait until the last minute. But I was originally going to get some help. My dad usually helps me, or had been. At first he was doing them. First he was doing them for me when I was just easy, I was an employee, very simple. And last year we did them together. That was the first real income, self-employed, which makes it a little bit different. And this year, I thought we were going to do them together again. And he was like, oh, I don't know, that might be out of my range. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do now? I waited too long to even ask. I don't know why I waited so long. That was last month, I think, or earlier it was in March. And I kind of underestimated how complicated they're going to start getting with being self-employed and having businesses, and it's just a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated. So today's Monday that I'm filming this. This is going to go up tomorrow, and today the taxes everything was due. And I tried. I feel like no one really talks about this, but I am, because usually you hear people talking about their taxes and it's this daunting thing, but I'm just anyways. So I was originally going to use TurboTax, right? Because I was I'm going to do them myself, attempt using TurboTax, because doing them printing out the sheets that you need and really handwriting them, I did that last year, but I was it might be a little bit more difficult with more money involved. So let me make sure we do it right. I'm going to use TurboTax. They have the different tiers for what you're using it for. Turns out it didn't really work that well for me, because with all the different, I had a W-2, even though I wasn't was employed, but it was just the way that I was listed, and 1099s, which is what I usually have, which is a non-employee something. So there was a missing information, TurboTax and its system, algorithm, code, or whatever it is, needed it to be a piece of information to be there, but it wasn't on mine. And it was saying if you live in a certain state that doesn't have income tax, like Texas, which is where I live, you can leave it blank. But TurboTax didn't want me to leave it blank. And then it was something I had to import, or I had to input my AGI, annual gross income, from last year, and it kept saying that was wrong, even though I was literally inputting the exact thing that the IRS said it was. And it just didn't work. And so I tried again, submitting it this morning one last time, after having my dad look at it and see if I was doing something wrong. Thought it worked, and I knew if it wasn't going to work, I needed to go to the bank to get a check, and to the post office before the bank closed. So it didn't reject it this time. I've tried twice before, a couple days ago, and it rejected within the hour. But this time it didn't. And I was okay, we're in the clear. It didn't do what it did last time. Finally, okay, got it. At the very last minute, it's literally 4:00. The bank closes at 5, and it rejects. And I'm oh my gosh. And so now I have to print it all out, because I'm going to send it by mail. I ran out of copy paper. I had to use fancy speckled decorative paper to print, and cardstock. And it was a lot. That just happened today. And so, of course, I had planned on recording this because I didn't record it this weekend because I was trying to do the taxes. And I was going to record this after all of that, thinking it was going to go a little bit more smoothly. And I was like, ugh, like that, just like my nerves were like shot, as like my mom would say. And but I ate, I had some food, I pieced it together. I was like, as soon as I like dropped it in the mailbox at like 4:45, right before the post office closed. Although I think you could use self-service at the post office. The bank was the issue, not the post office. I felt a little bit better. I'm like, hopefully I submitted everything right. Like, this stuff is really stressful for me. And I'm like, I need some help. Like, I can't, like, not being up in the air on things like that is a little bit, weighs on me a little bit more than other people might. Like, some people can dismiss it, but it like really makes me think. I'm like, so for the next year, while it takes to like get there and for them to check it, I'd be like, did I do my taxes right? Did I do them right? So I'm like, I just need some help. So today I wanted to talk about how I am a one-woman show and I do everything myself and have always done myself and prided myself on doing things myself. Like, oh yeah, I made this on that level, but how it's kind of grown into I only do things myself and I don't ask for help. And I'm going to change that. So that's what happened today. And so with all that happening, I was originally going to go back home, get ready, get prepared because I was going to film the podcast, maybe clean up a little bit. I have a mess in the background. And I'm like, this stopped me from recording a couple of days ago because I wasn't ready and there were mess in the background. And along with like overthinking, I've just been putting like a lot of standards that kind of are unnecessary. And it's like, I'm never going to get anywhere if I can't just be like a little bit more vulnerable. And it's just like, I'm not ready. Like normally this is how I look when I work though. I just have on like, my basic outfit. I usually do put my contacts on, but I have like I've just been so over it the couple of days. Like I've been wearing my glasses, which I don't mind. I want to get some more glasses and wear them more often. My hair, I was supposed to do my hair today. It doesn't look bad though, but it's just kind of like not the circumstances that I would have liked. And instead of letting that stop me, which I usually do, because I'm like, I want everything to be perfect. I was like, let's just do this because I already pushed it back last week because the only reason I missed it last week is because I didn't like how the podcast turned out. I did record one and I got inside of my head and I was like, it's not up to standards. I want it to be up to standards. And so I decided to scratch it. So I might upload that one as a bonus episode one of these days, but that's just how like it's been working. I am definitely kind of a perfectionist and all of this is what I wanted to talk about today. So we're going to get into that. But on a more positive note, I did want to highlight like small wins because I do find myself being in this headspace of just like, am I doing everything right? Nothing's right. More negative, pessimistic, like mindset. But while I was doing my taxes and calculating everything, I found that my income or what do we call it? My income? I think you just say my income grew since last year. So like my business grew since last year, which is really like, that's a really great thing. Like I'm doing numbers. It's not like astronomical or anything, but it's definitely like really good. And I'm really proud of myself. And I just wanted to like pat myself on the back and congratulate myself for exceeding last year's numbers, which was not something, 2020's numbers. 2021 was higher than 2020. And this year I am projected to beat 2021. So just things like that is like, I should stop to celebrate that more often so I can like live in the moment a little bit more because I am on go. I am always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? In the last 4 or 5 months, it's just been like, how can I do this next? How can I do this next? And I'm like, I just need to like celebrate a little bit more and acknowledge like the good things that I do because I'm really bad at that. And if I don't, literally no one else will. Literally, like I might mention it to my mom or my dad or my boyfriend and they'll be like, oh, that's like really cool. But like, and I'll just be like, yeah. and I won't even congratulate myself. So congratulations to me for having a good year last year. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't really stopped to look at like how 2021 did for me, really. I knew it was like good because I knew like what I wanted to do this year. But I didn't really stop to think about it and enjoy, what I had done. So today I am going to be cutting some paper if I do need something to do. I have noticed like I've been doing pretty well with not. Originally, I had the idea to do something while I was talking as like a nervousness, like if I needed something to do. But I feel like I've been doing pretty well at just talking and not doing so badly. And I kind of want to focus on this. This is a project that I want to do, and I want to like focus on it. So I don't even think I'm gonna try. Speaking of that project, I have decided that I want to slow down on my content consumption so I can work my brain. I've realized like I have a really high dependency on Pinterest. And not even just Pinterest, but if I have an idea and I want to do something or try something, I go and look it up first to see like maybe someone else's and then go and do it. And I'm like, who are you? Like, why can't you just do it? Even with this, I want to do like a paper collage and I'm like, oh, maybe I should go and look up something. But I remembered I told myself I wasn't going to do that for a little bit just so I could have some like genuine ideas, even though it might not be like super original or unique, but genuine in that I really wanted to do it. It might not be an original thought. Of course it won't be because there's nothing new, but hopefully I'm not too loud. Am I too loud? I feel like I'm talking loud, but at least that I'm doing it because it came out of my brain and because I had the idea to actually do it or the wanting to do it, as opposed to seeing something and being like, oh, I'm gonna like recreate that. Although it is okay to copy, to like try things. I definitely think so, and just like learn. But in this instance, I'm like itching to really like make something. And I can't even really put words to it, but and it's not just like doing something, like making something with my hands, but to kind of slow down a little bit and have a little bit more patience to start a project and complete it. I do get into modes where I'm like, oh, I just need to make something real quick and I'll just do something, but I won't even finish. But I really I want to make art in whatever format or medium it might be in. I just like want to do that. And so along with slowing down on my like content consumption, like really I don't even get on Instagram anymore. So that's really not that hard. I don't get on there. But Pinterest, I will just scroll on Pinterest for fun. And so I see a lot of ideas, concepts, and content on that. And I just want to like slow it down, as well as like YouTube. I'll watch it when I need something, or like I'm eating, or, like a pastime while I'm doing something, but not necessarily like consuming a whole bunch of YouTube videos to catch up on everyone that I'm subscribed to or that I like to watch. That's what's going on lately. I've just kind of want to be in my like in a zone, and I feel like I just want to. I don't know. I just want to kind of focus on my own personal ideas right now, and I need to kind of take out all the randomness and the extraness. Like I just want to be like in creation, like maker mode, and just like make a whole bunch of stuff and just like try a lot of stuff, because I don't know, I like to do a lot of things, but I haven't really felt like I've put a lot of time into one thing, or not one thing, but into something and create. Like I have no products or I have no work to show for like what I do really. I haven't done much for just myself that I can say, this is an expression of how I was feeling this day. I've only created stuff for work, and that's it. With the YouTube, like everything's been for like a work related thing. Like I need to make this because it's a certain day of the week. I need to make this because it's a client project, things like that. And I want to get into like make it for me mode. So today I wanted to talk about doing everything myself and being a one-woman show. Now, being a one-woman show is a little bit different from doing everything yourself. I feel like doing everything yourself is like one step up, because you could like be a one-woman show, but like you might outsource something here and there. Well, I'm someone who won't outsource a thing. So I was like, why? Like, where does this come from? And like, why? And I'm thinking it's like, in school, especially like the younger grades, and you'd have the group project. So like, think about the group project days. What person were you in the group project? Like, were you the coaster? Like, you just sat there and they were like, okay, you can do this, and you did it, and that was it? Or were you the person who had everyone else had to pick up your slack? Or were you the person who was picking up someone else's slack? I was that person. I was like the person, I'd rather just do it all. Like, I don't even want to be in the group. Like, sometimes you had options. Like, if there was an uneven amount of people in the class, one person could do it themselves. I wanted to be that person. Or I ended up having to pick up the slack because someone was just like a little bit slower. They didn't really understand. And like, I could answer the question in like 2 seconds. And it would just be like, I ended up doing the work on accident, kind of. So I was either that person. I was really that person. Like, if I had to be in the group, I was going to be that person. But I didn't want to be. But it was like, it wasn't going to take a bad grade, So what kind of person are you? What kind of group person are you? And I'm the person who's like, rather do all the work just so it's done right. I'm the like, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. I kind of live by that. And so I started to think like, I have done almost every single thing, like in terms of with YouTube, every single thing. Edited every video, written every description. I've sent every email for myself, like in terms of brand work. Well, I've never sent out emails. That all the business has always come to me. But I tried a manager for like a trial period, and it didn't even last long because it just didn't feel right. And they didn't end up. It was so short they didn't bring anything in, so I ended up. It didn't really count. And even then with the manager, I had a hard time letting go, relinquishing some responsibilities to them. And that's probably why it didn't work. Because I was just like, I just want to do everything. Like, I don't want you to answer my emails for me. Like, what if you don't do this right and stuff like that? So I've like written every email and talked to every agency person, representative. I have negotiated every deal, read every single contract I've been given. I read them over and over. I might look it up. Why am I reading contracts? Why am I reading contracts? I've signed a lot of contracts, and why am I reading them all? But I mean, I have gotten better, like from the first contract I ever written to what I sign now. I know how to negotiate the things like what I do and don't like, because I was in like the first contract I ever signed in 2019. I quickly learned what I did and didn't like about what was written in the contract, and that are often written in them. And so I know what to change, ask for changes, or negotiate on. Allocate that to someone else, like who is an expert, a lawyer. Okay. So, I've researched every concept, designed every graphic. Like, I obviously am, that's what I do. So that's kind of understandable. But, even when it came to like my press-on nails and like selling them, I designed, printed, and cut like postcards. Like, why didn't I just order postcards? Why did I want to be a part of every single step? Like, it's okay to like do it for fun, but when it comes to like trying to like be a little bit more efficient, sometimes you can outsource some things. Like, it's okay. And I'm telling this to myself because this is a problem. It's becoming a problem. Okay. And then I just listed some things that I feel like I've done everything of. And the last one I have is I've shot every clip. Like, I've never had anyone hold the camera for one of my YouTube videos or like an Instagram. My mom has taken a couple of pictures of mine, but even then I like rather take the picture myself if I needed like a picture. Now, when it comes to that, part of that is just like a little bit of awkwardness, like if someone's like staring at me on film, but I did have to get over that at one job that I worked. So I'm a little bit better at that. Like, I can just turn it on. Like, if I need to sit here and talk in front of people, like, I will just do it because I'd rather do that than waste time, But again, I have done it all, and it's not a flex or anything. It's really like, why won't you let anyone else do anything? So I'm either doing it all or I'm not doing any of it. It's like, I'm going to do all of it or the reason I didn't do it is because I'm just not going to do the thing, I'm just not participating. But if I'm participating, I'm doing all of it. I don't really know why. I don't know why and what this roots to, but maybe me talking about it is going to help a little bit. I wanted to talk about the first time I delegated a task. That's what I did when I was doing my pop-up for my nails. And I wanted to build out this whole idea of like at pop-ups or like crafts, fairs or markets, flea markets, like they have a table or a booth and then you set it up, decorate it. I researched everything on Pinterest, what I wanted. I wanted to take this idea from here, this idea from here. And along with having to do like that whole setup, I was actually going to have to make the product too. I had 2 weeks to do everything. And I really thought, I was like, 1 week I'm going to spend making this booth. The second week I'll spend making the product. Well, my auntie was like, why don't you let me do it? I was like, one day we were on FaceTime, like my family is on FaceTime. We all know the pop-up's coming up. And I'm like pulling stuff out of the garage, seeing what I've got, seeing what I'm going to do. Everyone was like, yeah, just let her do it, because she does, like, I don't know what you call it. Events, pop-up events, decorates them and stuff, and does like full blown out set designs, like really nice, fancy, detailed set designs. And I wasn't even at that moment. I was just like in my own mode of like, let me just do this. I hadn't even thought about letting my auntie do it. It hadn't even crossed my mind. It's not even that I didn't want her to do it. It just didn't cross my mind. So like, why didn't it cross my mind? Like I was really about to take on like so much work. So I was like, yeah, like you definitely should do it. Like, let me not be silly and take some weight off me, because again, I only had 2 weeks and I needed all those 2 weeks to make that product. She did it. It was so good. It was an amazing turnout. But while those 2 weeks were going and everything was being put together and built, I was so like nitpicky and worried. Like the whole time I was so worried and anxious that it wasn't going to turn out how I wanted it to, and the fact that I didn't have any control over it really got to me over those 2 weeks. It's so much so where I was like genuinely worried. Like I talked about it often. I was like, oh my gosh, like what if it's like this? What if it's not this? Like I feel like I'm just gonna hate it when I don't want to walk in there and it's all set up and I hate it. And so like it was really bad for me. Like I really noticed, like, well, at the time I didn't notice, but thinking back on it like the last couple of weeks, I'm like, why? That was really bad. But why? Like I want to know like what this is. Just being controlling or something, like I don't know. So that was the first time that I delegated something that had to do with like, kind of like a business, and it was very, very hard. I've ordered some like stickers, like labels and stuff, but for the most part, I've like everything you've seen, I've done. Like I did almost all parts and steps of it, and so I don't know. I'm not like super, like it's like cool, but it's like not really, because it's like you're probably tired, right? And yeah. Like that's why I burn out so easily. Like I'm just exhausted, mentally drained often. And so that's why I'm like, it's not really that cool. So maybe I am like a perfectionist and controlling. I'm definitely detail oriented, but that's like the positive way of saying like nitpicking and controlling or something. Controlling doesn't have to be, it has a negative connotation, but like when it comes to the things that I want and stuff, I'm just a perfectionist, and like if someone else has to be there, I'm like subtly controlling. I remember in 6th grade, we were doing this project. It was like a project called Taste of the World, I think. Everyone picked a country and you made a food and you brought it, and we had like we tasted everybody's food that was from different countries. And we also had to like design a banner. And so everyone just like wanted to submit their banner design. And this is right up my alley, even in 6th grade. And I submitted my design. And I think I had taken like, if I remember correctly, I had incorporated like utensils or food and turned it into like the letters Taste of the World for the banner. So of course mine won, it won. Everyone picked my banner. And so then we had to take my little like thumbnail drawing and blow it up into a banner. So the entire class had to like work on it together with me overseeing everything, right? And so, oh my gosh, I just remember that I had similar feelings of just like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. And like, can you do this more like this, more like this? Like, I'm not, and so some stuff I'm just not go with the flow. And a lot of things I am like, go with the flow. But when it comes to like making something that I have to put my name on it, I'm not at all. Or like my face is in it, I'm not at all. It ended up turning out pretty well. I think it either got scrapped, like something happened where we couldn't do it or something. But something happened where the whole project I think got scrapped. I don't know if like we were like misbehaving or something, but because I can't remember if we actually did it or not. But I had Morocco and I had made like this patty. I think it was like was it cumin or something? I don't know, but it was like a really fun project, and I wish I had like a picture of that. I would love to see what I had designed then in 6th grade. Okay, so the last story that I have of being controlling and annoying. No, I really shouldn't speak badly of myself like that, but sometimes you do have to be like, you have to acknowledge what it is, and then you could like be nice to yourself. So the first time that I worked on a set was in December 2019. It was for a hair care brand. It would be easy to figure out, but I don't want to name any names. But if anyone from there ever listens to this, it'll be kind of funny, but probably not. But I don't know, maybe. So on set, this is like hair. I'm like, I have to film a commercial and we have to take photos, and there was like an interview portion. I'm in LA on like a real set, like real crews, a famous director, like well-known director. The director I forgot her name, but had directed an Xavier Omar music video. Like I was so happy to be there. But at the same time, when it came to like the hair part, I was like, I needed to be this, like there was a makeup artist, a hairstylist. So someone who makes hair videos every week is letting someone else do my hair for like a national campaign. Oh my gosh. Like y'all don't understand how I had the largest knot in my chest for someone else to be doing my hair, to be photographed, to be like in Target. It was in Target. So I'm going crazy because my hair is not looking like how it needs to look. And that was just like another time of me having having no control. And I don't know, like I spoke up in my mind. I spoke up for myself. Everyone else, I turned into like the diva. But you know what? Like I kind of didn't care, because it was one of those times where, you know how you'll hear people say like, oh, I didn't speak up for myself, or I should have said that. And I don't have those feelings about that. I don't have those feelings because I spoke up, and it might have come off harsh at the time, but like I'm kind of glad that I did it, it kind of showed myself that I can like speak up for myself. And like, if I don't like something, I mean, it's okay to let them know, But there was also like wardrobe, and that was kind of tough for me. Like, like being in clothes I didn't really necessarily feel comfortable in, because like I'm not an actor. So it was just like, I didn't know how to act, how to like just be okay with whatever it is and just let it be, like, So those are all the times where it was just like tough, and why, and because of those moments and those feelings is why I just like to do things myself. But with the events that have transpired recently, I'm like, I'm going to take this year to really try to delegate some things. Another thing that scares me is just like not finding the right person and things not working out, like, and things going wrong, especially when it comes to money. But I do want to try my best this year to find some systems that allow me to do what I do a little bit more and take a little bit off my back in terms of like admin work. Yeah, so the last thing I wrote was that a self-conscious past. I thought it might have something to do with just being like a little self-conscious. So it's like, if I do it, I know exactly how it's going to turn out. I'll be a little bit more confident in it. So it could have something to do with that. But I don't know. So for this week's creative encouragement, I think I had a couple of pins. I wrote this one a little minute ago, so I don't remember what they were. Okay, so I have a couple. The first one is this is a pen, a Pinterest pen. I just like including these quotes. For me, reading things like that keep my brain at like a more neutral stance, because I can get really deep into negative thoughts and down on myself. And so like remembering things just kind of like click in my head, and I'll have like motivation to get up and start again the next day. So that's why I like to include these things, but just as a little bit of encouragement, because I do need that myself on, like a daily, weekly basis. So the first one is take massive, imperfect action towards your goals. The time will never be just right. So that one is kind of geared towards like maybe being like a perfectionist and just not, and waiting until the right moment or until everything's right to do something. And it's just like sometimes you just kind of have to be wrong and be confidently wrong. Okay, so the next one is the act of creating is more important than the result. And that goes to like how I want to go forward in the next couple of months, of just like making, and not so much focusing on like how it's going to look at the end, but just doing it and not worrying about, because like when it comes to work, I do have to think about the end result and make the idea and the end result meet. And so sometimes that takes a little bit of the fun out of it, just a little bit, because you need it to like look a certain way at the end, need it to be right. I think it's important to do some things where it just doesn't really matter how it turns out. Okay, and the last one is you are not in control and you never have been. Blake, you're not in control. All right. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I should have more control. And then sometimes it's like I have zero control. So like whatever happens. I go back and forth. It's like polar opposites. And I'm kind of in the like, I want control mode. And so, it goes back and forth. Okay. So thank you guys for listening and watching the visuals on YouTube. If you'd like, we can continue this discussion on Discord. The link will be in the show notes and the description of this video. And the complete show notes are on my website. On my website currently, you can find all the podcast resources, links to where you can listen to it, some details on like the things that I touched on, and some links. So, I did want to talk about, I had some vegan snacks. I had some really good vegan snacks today. I love like just a vegan snack dump. I'm a snacky person. I like a smorgasbord of like different snacks as a meal. It's not always the best. So like I've always liked, like, you go to Whole Foods and you just grab, like, they have little different things, single serve things, or just like different unique snacks that regular grocery stores don't have. Like they just don't carry. And it's more expensive. But like Whole Foods, Sprouts, there's a grocery store near me that has just like cool plant-based and vegan things. So today I had picked up these coconut milk caramels. So it's Cocoa Mel's, the original coconut milk caramels. Delicious, chewy caramel made without dairy. And I got the sea salt flavor. So it's reminiscent of a Werther's caramel, or is that chocolate? Werther's, I think the little caramel hard candies, but this one is made out of coconut. So it does have like a coconut essence, the same way that coconut ice creams do. But I've learned to really like that, so it doesn't bother me. But if you don't like coconut, you wouldn't like these. So these are by Cocoa Mel's. Very good. They look like this if you're watching. And then I also tried another jerky. I actually finished this one. I've tried a lot of plant-based jerkies, and this is the first one that was like actually really, really good. A lot of them that I've tried kind of have like a dog. I hate to say this, but like a dog food essence. And this one didn't at all. So it's jerky, y'all, plant-based jerky in the flavor prickly pear teriyaki. Is this made in Texas? Sure is. It's made in Crossroads, Texas. Go Texas. It's jerky, y'all. That makes sense. Oh, okay. So yeah, I really enjoyed this flavor of jerky. It's actually the best flavor that I've tasted. All right. So anyways, don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you listen and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun today, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.